Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And you know, when we get breaking information and news about law enforcement and all the good job that they are doing out on the streets, we like to bring that to you as quickly as we can. So from Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office, welcome in Mr. Lonnie Cavalier. Lonnie, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having us, Keith.
Absolutely. All right, first, let's talk about a couple of different cases. We'll talk about Mr. Ewell first, if that's okay.
Yes, it is. On yesterday afternoon at 1:15 p.m., Sheriff's 911 office received a call of a stabbing on Highway 400, the 300 block of Highway 400 south of Napoleonville. Deputies responded and made contact with one victim who had been stabbed in the neck. Initial investigation revealed that the victim and an individual by the name of Anthony James Ewell, age 60, of Napoleonville, had got into an argument at the Highway 400 address during the day yesterday, and got into an argument over the use of a chair. At some point in time, they separated and went their separate ways. The victim later on, a couple hours later, went down the street to a little store, and on his way back, he was accosted by Mr. Ewell from behind and stabbed once in the neck. The victim was transported to a local hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Mr. Ewell was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Jail on charges of aggravated second-degree battery. He remains incarcerated without bond at this time.
Yeah, and it looks like he also had some outstanding warrants as well, correct?
Yes, he had some outstanding failure to appear warrants that were basically added to his booking sheet yesterday afternoon, and that clears that up as far as his failing to appear in court.
Okay, gotcha. And so, again, somebody stabbed in the neck. This could have been far worse. You know, we know that those two primary veins in the neck. I mean, you get one of those, and that could be a really, really bad incident. So it's good that this ended as not life-threatening.
Yes, very fortunate, because he did come up on him from behind and basically just plunged the knife into his neck. And fortunately, it did not hit the jugular veins. And you know, he did okay and was treated at a local hospital.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that update, and certainly always you guys providing that information. Now, we would understand we've also had another situation in Labadeville, correct?
Yes, on Highway 308, we received a call yesterday from a concerned relative. In regards to a welfare concern, deputies were sent to the area and made contact with the complainant, as well made contact with Mr. Roy Anthony Ollier, Jr., 55, of Thibodeau. Deputies noted Mr. Ollier to be, acting very strangely, and then he did advise us that he had relapsed into a bad drug habit he had, involving crystal methamphetamine. And while deputies are investigating the case, he did turn over a quantity of methamphetamine to the sheriff's office. Mr. Roy Anthony Ollier was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Jail on charges of possession of methamphetamine, and he remains there now. He has not had a bond hearing yet.
Okay. And so the welfare concern was for his concern. Is that correct?
Correct. A relative called because he was at her house and he was acting very strangely. He was all full of mud and had apparently been in the water. And basically he said he had relapsed and took some and used some methamphetamine. and which ultimately led to him being arrested yesterday afternoon.
Well, I got to tell you, it's so very nice to be able to see that our sheriff's office very often is called out to two different situations where one gets addressed very quickly with non-threatening injuries, and the second is a family that's really concerned about their loved one, and you guys show up and really help make a positive difference for the family and or for this gentleman, which it seems it's likely that he'll maybe get back to getting back into being able to take care of himself much better and going back into rehab.
Yes, we're attempting to locate him a bed now, and we'll do our best to get that done. Our welfare concern program is, pretty much targets the elderly. However, anytime a welfare concern is called in, we'll attend to it. We do have a specific welfare program that targets the elderly, which deputies make rounds and visit the elderly on a daily basis in their zones, wherever they're working. And, we have a rolling roster of who we visit, and if they need anything, we're there to help.
Commander, I got to tell you, it's really nice. For myself, I got to tell you, I get calls probably once every 2 weeks from somebody who's trying to help a family member who's got some drug issues, or they're just not quite themselves and they really want them to get help. And sometimes people don't want to do that. It's so very nice that you guys have someone as a representative through Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office that can help with those kinds of matters.
If you save one, it was all worth the trouble.
Yeah, I love that perspective. It really makes a difference. And so, again, being able to bring some closure at the beginning to both of these cases is really a good thing. Being able to have someone that again, that first situation where the stabbing did not result in some major medical issue. And then secondly, family being concerned and getting the help for somebody that maybe wouldn't have necessarily gotten it. And like you said, if we help one, it's all worth it. And so we certainly appreciate your time and your team for what y'all do. Thank you for what y'all are doing out there on the street.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, Commander. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.
When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line. When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda,